Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. In this video we will discuss one of the famous plays of Ben Jonson, The Alchemist. Ben Jonson wrote other plays also, but this play was a famous one as it has been praised by many other literary men. The popularity and importance of this play can be understood by what St. Coleridge said about it, that it is St. Coleridge, a romantic poet. Uh, he said that out of three plays of English literature, The Alchemist is one of the has one of the best plots or one of the best settings, and it was performed in 1610 uh, in the same theater where Shakespeare plays were performed, and the company that was owned by Shakespeare names Kingsman Theatre Company. So the play was performed there. And one thing about this play more that in the Renaissance, after Shakespeare, this was one of the best plays after Shakespeare plays, if you make a comparison with it. So, this alchemist, from the name, it appears that something related to alchem or chemistry or to mixing up of the solutions, or when we talk about chemistry. So, in Alchemist, there was a thought in the world. Sometimes, when you watch some old movies, some fairy tales, we've been told that they were in search of water, that if somebody drinks that water, he will never die, he or she will never die. I mean, a life water or aqua that we call it. In the same way, there was second myth that existed in the world throughout the world history, that the people they kept thinking that there can be something, some stone that can change all the metals into gold, specifically iron into gold. So, in the same way as we say that Aladdin's lamp, that you just rub the lamp and a giant is in front of you who is ready to fulfill all your desires. In the same way, people had myths that it can happen, that through some ways, through some means, by mixing up of solutions, by the touch of a stone, the metals can be converted into gold. But this play is a comedy and it's a sarcasm on society. Uh, the theme of the play is similar to that. When we talk about the summary of this play and the settings of the play that we will discuss, we come to know that here the people they are overwhelmed and overpossessed by the thought that they want to become rich overnight. Actually, the people they want to deceive themselves, or they want to get something to turn their metals into gold. So this is something related to alchemist and chemistry also. So this is the title of the play that refers back to changing metals into gold, or getting something to become rich overnight, and all these imaginary thoughts that sitting in the home you start thinking that something will happen overnight, and the next day you would going to be the richest person of the world. So same was the thought that prevalent throughout the history. So this was one of the best plays of Ben Jonson. Let's talk about its summary. In this play, in this video we will discuss only its summary or its plot. uh, the setting of the play takes place in London, where a rich man lives. His name is Lovett, and he has had a servant, a butler, whose name is Jeremy. So, what happens that a plague, an epidemic, a viral disease was spread in London. As nowadays we are suffering from this deadly disease of COVID-19 coronavirus. So, I mean, the same was it in throughout the history. When you read, when you study history of the world, you come to know that after 100 years, after 200 years, plagues, epidemics, pandemics, they killed many people, and most of the people they were affected by these diseases. As nowadays we are facing this crisis, the world is facing actually this crisis. So love it what he says when he observes that the plague is spreading in London, so he leaves London and goes somewhere else. So when he leaves, he hands over his house to his butler, whose name is Jeremy. So he hands over his house to him that you would take care of my house in my absence. Now, what Jeremy is, he is having a kind of fraud minded person, that he thinks that now the house is, very clear. The owner of the house is not here. So he starts a business there. Uh, I just turn off this internet connection, it's disturbing. Uh, so he when Jeremy he realizes that the owner is gone and he is all in all in the house. Uh, he A treacherous plan comes into his mind, and he thinks that uh, he should do something with the help of his friend Subtle to cheat the people or to make fraud with the people. So he changes his name from Jeremy to Face, Captain Face. No, in the play, his name would be recalled as Face, but his actual name is Jeremy. His friend is Settles. He calls him, and both of them they decide to cheat the people, and they started a con business. Con business mean to cheat the people or to deceive the people by their tricks. Now, Subtle he disguises himself as a chemist, as a doctor, uh, and they both of them they started their business to cheat the people. But when the play opens, both of them they are fighting that who is going to be the boss in this business. So they are having severe arguments between both of them, and the fight was not going to end, but it ended when this girl doll entered. She is a local prostitute, and three of them, Jeremy, the servant, Subtle, his friend, and Doll, three of them, they are partners in this business of cheating people. So she interferes and she says that both of you keep on fighting, then it will be very difficult for us to settle our business. So and she also tells them, she pacifies them by saying that if you keep calm, then I will be good to you. So when a prostitute is saying that I'll be good to someone, so it means that, I mean, everyone can understand. So they have started their business. Their first customer comes, and the name of the customer is Dapper. As I told you about this girl doll, a local prostitute. So this in this play, the inclusion of this local prostitute means that another kind of fraud, another kind of cheating, that a woman who can seduce anyone. Whenever a prostitute is there in a business, it means what? It means that she is there to seduce men, or to detract men, or to just uh, just to deceive them in a way that they could not realize, or they become easy target for the whole team to deceive them. So the first customer is Dapper. Dapper is a lawyer's clerk, and he comes there and he says that he is actually a gambler, and he wants to win all the games of his gambling, and he wants to become a rich man. And he also wants to meet the queen of not to meet the queen of fairy. When he tells Subtle and Jeremy that he wants to be a rich man, he wants to win all the gambling and all those illegal businesses, then Subtle and Jeremy they tell him that we will tell you a trick, and let us do our work. In this way, we will show you fairy, queen of fairy. Queen of fairy is an imaginary a queen, like A Fairy Queen poem was written by Edmund Spenser also. So Queen of Fairy means when Queen of Fairy would meet him, it means that he would be getting every trick to win gambling. So he was actually covered up by Subtle and Jeremy, and this person Dapper, he thought that both of them they are telling me the truth, and he goes back. Now, one thing here I should mention that when Dapper, they say that when Dapper himself goes to them and he says that I want to win all the gambling and tell me some trick or give me some, spiritual power that I can win all the games. It means he is trying to get a shortcut to become rich or to win all the games. So when he is himself trying to get a shortcut, so both you can say the cheater is going to the cheaters. The person who is a customer dapper, he's a cheater, the others they are also cheaters. So it is actually a sarcasm all over to the society that all the people at that time, most of them they were just trying to cheat each other or deceive each other. So he goes back with this confirmation that one day he will meet Queen of Fairy and he'll get all the tricks to win all the gambling. The next customer is Drugger. Drugger, he runs a business of, from the name it is apparent that he runs business of tobaccos, and he wants to make his business more, refined, more big business, wants to earn more money, and he tells them that give me something or give me a spiritual power or any other trick that I become rich within no time. So this Jeremy and Subtle, they also try to say the same things that they have said to uh, this Dapper. So Drugger, he also want to get his business flourished within no time, and Dapper also wants to choose a shortcut. Both of them, they are again, they are not innocents. They are themselves like trying to get some powers instead of working hard. They believe in some shortcuts. In the same time, this the next person, Sir Epicure Memon, Doll tells them to Jeremy and Settle that Sir Epicure Memon is coming. Now, Sir Epicure Memon is a rich man and he wants to get a philosopher's stone. He had lot of iron that he wants to convert that iron into gold. Now, it was believed that there is a stone named philosopher's stone. If someone gets that stone, with the help of that stone, every metal would be converted into gold, to precious metal gold. So he comes there and he says that I want to get that philosopher's stone. Though as Jeremy and Subtle and all, they were all prepared to cover him up, and they have already, and before that, his arrival, before that, two or three times, they have already cheated him. But again, he is going there. He's there to get this stone. So they promised him that he will get a stone, and this Subtle, in the dressing of a doctor, he uses some medical terms and some language of as the doctors they speak. So he covers him up and he just occupies his mind with his oily tongue or with his words, philosophical words, and he was impressed. Now they he was accompanied by a person named this Surly. Surly was with Sir Epicure Mammon. Now Surly is the person, he realizes that the way Jeremy and Settle are trying to convince Sir Epicure Mammon that everything will be converted into gold and they would give him a philosopher's stone. He gets a bit suspicious about their working or about their business. Now, Sir Epicure Mammon, uh, he says that when both of them they were having a discussion that Sir Epicure Mammon will get that stone. In the meanwhile, he gets he looks at Doll. Suddenly, Doll comes and he looks at him. Now, Sir Epicure Mammon, when he looks at Doll, he was Too much convinced, he was seduced by Doll. At looking at him, he just wanted to talk to her. And Doll, she understood everything. She was already expert in it. Sutter and Jeremy, both of them, they knew. No, Sir Epicure, Mammon and Doll, they started talking to each other somewhere in the stairs, in the garden. They are talking to each other. In the meantime, this person, Ananias, he comes there. He also comes there to get a philosopher's stone. Now, Ananias was a person from a tribe who were all Protestants, and he wanted to get more people into his religious circle. Like he want to convert other person into his own religion, Protestantism. So Ananias tells them that my people, they are we want to get other peoples to enter in our tribe or to embrace our religion. So I need philosopher's stone as early as possible, and he has paid for that. Now, Shuttle and Jamie, they try to convince him that it takes time and everything is going into, in its fixed manner. You shouldn't be worried about it, and you will be given the this philosopher's stone. And they say that's after few days or in within no time you will get that philosopher's stone. And he goes back. So again there is one person, instead of preaching to the people, instead of getting them convinced with his religious thoughts, he is trying to get a philosopher's stone, again a shortcut to convince the people towards his religion. Now, they were informed that there is a brother and sister, they have come into the town. Both of them, they were, the brother's name is Kestrel, and his sister, who's a widow, her name is Dame Pliant. Dame Plant is a widow and she is a rich lady. Now, when they come to know this Subtle and Jeremy or Face, they come to know that Dame Plant is in the town. So they thought that they would try to convince her as soon as possible so they can get lot of money from her. In the meanwhile, this Surly disguises himself as uh, a Spanish duke or Spanish aristocrat or Spanish rich man or nobleman, and he enters into that house of Subtle and Jeremy because he had already smelled a rat and he thought that uh, they are actually trying to cheat others. So he goes there in a Spanish dress up disguised as a Spanish person. When he goes there, now Jeremy and Settle, they believe that the Spanish people, they do not understand English. So they started making fun of him, and while making fun of him, they are saying that we are going to make him fool and we are going to get lot of money from him. He will be, trapped by us and everything, without knowing that Surly is actually an Englishman. So Dame Plant and Castrol, he comes there, and when he talks to Jeremy and Subtle, they talk to him. They were convinced. He was convinced, and he goes back to bring his sister too in the house. Now, when Dame Plant she comes there, Surly, she actually doesn't like Spanish people, but Surly tries to talk to her, and both of them they are talking to each other. In the meanwhile, this Sir Epicure, Mammon, and Doll, when they were, they were together, and he was too much. Sir Epicure, Mammon forgot about everything, about Philosopher's Stone, about others. He is just, after this girl Doll, and she was also giving him much time because they knew that he had brought lot of iron metal into their house. So what happens in the meanwhile, they say Sir Epicure Mammon, they inform Sir Epicure Mammon that you cannot get any philosopher's stone. Now Sir Epicure Mammon, he was worried that why couldn't I get. They say that because uh, lust has come into your heart and mind. You have been seduced and impressed by a girl. No, you are no more a sacred soul, so you will not be able to get any philosopher's stones. And in the meantime, they say that because of this, because the lust has occupied the house, that is why there is a kind of a blast in the laboratory where they were actually making the philosopher's stone, and everything has been burned. Everything, including all the luggage, all the iron metal that Sir Epicure Mammon, that costs a lot, that was also there. They said everything is finished, everything is blasted, it's just over. Now, Sir Epicure Mammon has to go back without any uh, like any philosopher's stone. Now, sadly, he has already realized that they were cheaters. Now, at the end, he tells Dame Plant that he is actually not a Spanish, he is a Englishman. Now, at this point, Doll comes and she tells Face and Settle that the owner of the house, Lovewit, is coming back to the house. Now, as Lovewit comes to the house, he enters into the street. The people all around, the neighbors, they tell him that your servant Face, he had turned this out, and many turned this into a kind of just like a shop. He's running your home, and many people, we have seen many people, those who are coming to your house and going back. So you should inquire him what he's actually doing in the house. So when Lovett comes, Face tries to convince him that there was nothing wrong in the house and he has taken care of the house very carefully. Uh, but Lovett, he just comes to know that Face Jeremy, actually he is lying to Lovett. When Jeremy realizes that there is no way left to convince Lovett, he apologizes. He says that I have committed a crime by turning your house into a con business, or into uh, a, a fraud house or a cheat house. So I request you to pardon me, to forgive me, and if you pardon me, this butler Jeremy is saying that if Lovett apologizes, accepts apologies of Jeremy, Jeremy would arrange his marriage with a rich widow named Dame Pliant. Now, Lovett, again, he says he doesn't have any problem if he gets Dame Pliant, a wealthy widow, to marry, then all the mistakes of Jeremy will be overlooked. Now, in the meanwhile, Doll and Settle, Jeremy tells them that they have no place to live in this house. So, without telling Lovett, he just escapes them behind the door, behind the rear wall of the house. Both of them, they are gone empty handed. They do not get anything. But Jeremy was able to survive with his job, and he arranges Lovett's marriage with uh, this girl, Dame Pliant, and the play ends. So there was no philosopher's stone. When they say that there was a blast, everything was finished. Nobody is getting any. No one is going to meet any fairy queen. No one is going to flourish his business. No one is going to philosopher's stone. So everything was finished, and Lovett, he starts. He marries with the Dame Pliant, and Jeremy starts doing his job of butler as he was doing before.